Well, good afternoon, West Ham fans. Hopefully, got a bit of a extra bounce in our step in between this weird bit between Christmas and New Year, and we've closed out the year with was it the most wins in a calendar year in like our history, bar like one in 1980 or something like that, and the most Premier League points at the halfway stage or something ridiculous like that. Anyway, we beat Arsenal. We beat Arsenal at the Emirates. 73rd time lucky for Davy Moyes. At lunch, I went through my player ratings, and yeah, my thoughts on the game. And bloody good it was too. Well done, the boys. But it's Hammers Headlines in association with the KUMB.com boys, and we're talking a bit about everything. Going to talk a bit about David Moyes. Going to talk a bit about a couple of rumours. And obviously, then the focus turns to Brighton on the second. Got a little break now. Another few days off. What's going on? I quite enjoy it at the moment. Anyway, let's talk about Moisey. If I can get the right picture. There we go. So, yesterday it was reported quite on multiple sites that he had apparently told friends that he was no longer going to he wasn't going to be at West Ham next year. He wasn't going to be at West Ham next year, and he was asked the specific question after the Arsenal game in the press conference, the post-match press conference, and it was quite interesting what he said because it seemed to contradict all that. But David Moyes, when press conferences happen, all smoke and mirrors. He said there's no rush for talks with West Ham's board over his future, and he's convinced a deal for him to extend his stay at West Ham manager will get done. That was his direct quote. Recent reports have indicated that discussions over a new deal have yet to take place. As per Mr. Sullivan's MO, he doesn't discuss managers' contracts until the summer, basically, when they're out of contract. But Moyes apparently is relaxed about the situation and says there's a feel-good factor around the club at the moment. And he was quoted in the press conference as saying, "We are getting ready to talk. I don't think any of us are jumping to get it done so quickly. We will get it done. I don't see any problems with that. We are not in a rush. We'll get it done when we're ready. I'm enjoying my time. We originally came to West Ham to make sure West Ham didn't get relegated, but we've grown and got better. We're not dining at the top table just yet. We're fine. I get on well with the board. They're thrilled. They're delighted the team are going strong in the Premier League and in Europe." So you can sort of unpack that a little bit. It's just, no one's spoken to me yet, but I think it's going to get done. But I'm not in a rush. Playing devil's advocate, maybe he's not in a rush. Maybe he's. There was talks yesterday. It was speculation that he was looking to maybe go to a new challenge. Maybe move close to home. You got to look at maybe, well, not close to home, but the Crystal Palace job will probably be available soon if Steve Cooper doesn't get there. Celtic job, maybe, possibly, but we'll see what happens. I mean, it was widely believed that he wasn't going to be offered a new deal, but to come out so confidently, maybe, despite the fact, so maybe he doesn't know what's going on. I don't know. It does seem a bit of a strange underbelly to everything at the moment in terms of what's happening with Moyes. Maybe lessons were learned, from when we had Sam Allardyce in charge and it was announced that he wasn't going to have his contract renewed halfway through the season. Maybe because we tried that again, wasn't it? It was announced on TalkSport that he was not going to get his contract renewed. It was unlikely to get his contract renewed. And then that got revoked, that sort of statement. So it was almost like, yeah, we don't know what's going on. But Moyes thinks he's getting a new deal. So we'll see. Let's talk about some new signings, some rumours. Obviously, we are mere days away from the January transfer window opening and all the fun of the fair. Make sure you watch the West Ham Network because we'll try and keep you up to date with the latest rumours as and when they happen. But apparently West Ham have joined a host of other Premier League sides and also European sides in an attempt to try and sign Port Vale sensation Liam Brazier. That was according to The Sun yesterday. It reported that the League One side are desperate to keep hold of their 16-year-old sign their 16-year-old up to a professional contract, but that won't be possible until he turns 17. and they will be looking for a fee of around £750,000 to sell the attacking midfielder, who has been compared to a young Jack Grealish. As I said, it's going to be a difficult one to get this one over the line, in all honesty. So many clubs are interested in him. And the Sun claims that a number of Premier League sides and sides across Europe are tracking the teenager after his impressive form for Port Vale's youth team at such a young age. He's also made 3 appearances for the senior side already, all being in the EFL Trophy. And the attacking midfielder, as I said, was being potentially dubbed the next Jack Grealish. In hindsight, further down the line, 750 grand for a 16-year-old who could be a world beater could be a bargain, but he could be potentially put off by the fact that we haven't really shown a great pathway for first team players into the West Ham first team in recent years. They could pitch to him saying that's going to change. Maybe with a new manager coming in, or with Mark Noble as sort of this sporting director, but pathway director, possibly. We don't know, but it's good to see. For me, I'm encouraged when we're linked with people who are sort of under the radar, and shows they've been scouted as well. I mean, because he would have been scouted for a youth team rather than through the first team. So there's obviously we know there's a process in place in terms of trying to recruit the best youngsters into the academy. Then obviously the next discussion is how it transpires to transition them from the academy into the first team. But that's a different discussion. It's about getting them in first, I think. And, no doubt the performance of the under-21s in the PL2, 15 games unbeaten, something like that in a row now. And also the under-18s through to the next round of the FA Youth Cup, playing Man City in a couple of weeks at Rush Green. Make sure you go and watch them. I'll be there spinning the tunes at Rush Green. And lastly, we spoke yesterday about maybe a changing in transfer policy to maybe a more looking at the defence rather than the attack. Now, according to where was it? The Standard. West Ham are apparently seemingly throwing their hat back into the ring, really, to sign Nottingham Forest defender Joe Worrall. He's been a transfer target for us for many occasions, at least 3 or 4 I can remember. And we only failed to sign him last time after Forest actually got promoted in May 2022. And there's obviously been a change around at Forest at the moment with Espirito Santos taking over now. Steve Cooper no longer there. David Moyes is very keen, obviously, to boost his central defensive ranks. We've seen that recently. Obviously, at the moment, with Angelo Bonner and Mavropanos, there was Tilo Kehrer as our only centre back, recognised centre back on the bench. Zuma got a knock in training. Again, at the AFCONs, again, might be sold. I still think that's a possibility. I don't agree with it, but I think it might be a possibility. So, there's no surprise that we're looking for people who are coming, particularly with the AFCONs as well. We're not going to see NAF now until Morocco get knocked out. So, 1st or 2nd of January, if you could be in Joe Worrall, he's 26. He's got Premier League experience. And according to the Standard, we want him and we can sign him. And there'll be, he's had first team opportunities hard to come by. They brought in a raft of players, a raft of centre halves, and he's struggled. As I said, Kurt Zuma struggled with fitness. He's picking up knocks. Bonner's 36. I didn't give him a chance yesterday. Ate my words, and I love doing that. I love being proved wrong. And he was brilliant yesterday. But I think that's sort of one in every half dozen games with Angelo. He hasn't been great the last few appearances he's played. I think Mavropanos seems to be developing. So the addition of bringing in a proven centre-back is definitely needed at London Stadium. And Worrall could be the person. He's had a lack of first-team football this season and wants to move on because of that. So it could be East London could be his destination in January. I think it'd be a really smart signing. He wouldn't cost the world. I think the Sun quoted between 12 and 15 million pounds for him. 26 this day and age, 26-year-old Premier League centre half. I don't think that's too bad. Would I swap him? Value wise, you're thinking very similar in terms of value to someone like Tilo Kehrer. Would I prefer Joe Worrall than Tilo Kehrer as a centre back? I think I would. I think I would. He's got a bit of Craig Dawson about him. Do you know what I mean? He's a bit of like a for someone who's 26, he's a well established. He's tall. He's 6'4". He's a warrior. He reminds me of a young Craig Dawson, and we need a bit of that. We need a bit of that. We haven't really got in the sort of the defensive area. We need someone who, when the chips are down, they're going to roll their sleeves up, pull their socks up, and just go to war. And we haven't got. I don't think we've got that in our centre halves at the moment. We've lost that when Craig Dawson left, in my opinion. He's very composed. Despite being 26, he's coming into his peak. Really, in all honesty, he's a leader, and I think we need some more leaders on the pitch. And I think if we got him for like 12 million quid, I think that's a really good deal, and we should be all over that like a rash. In all honesty, not the most exciting name, but he was Craig Dawson. Look how he became. So I see everything now. And if Steinton wants him, Steinton brings him in. We trust the process. We trust the process. And that's it, my friends. Thank you very much for your time. As I said, make sure you check out neesambrand.com. Don't forget, want your beer for Christmas? Not Christmas, New Year. beer52.com/West Ham or wine52.com/West Ham Network. Also, football prizes. I've got a fantastic new prize. That's the new competition. An Edson Alvarez signed shirt, all displayed really nicely. And there are quite a few sort of instant wins as well in there. Check out the West Ham Network Twitter page for more information. And until then, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble. Make sure you know where your bins are going out. Mine gone out today. Much love.